Hi guys, it's Wombat, and today we are looking at Dalton and Elliot Highway Extreme for ATS version 1.30. Dalton and Elliot Highway comes in two flavors, summer and winter. One has mud and gravel and the other one got snow and ice. And it's not like the winter mud is a mud you place on top of the summer map, nope. Dalton Winter is a separate set of mods, and both winter and summer mods clocks in at more than 1 gigabyte in size each. The map mod requires its own profile, but fortunately you can play both summer and winter on the same profile. Both versions contains 7 mods each, or 8 if you include the heavy cargo mod, but only 5 of them are unique. So if you switch those 5 out from summer to winter, you're able to continue where you left off, just like you would expect with a regular winter mod. So, what is Dalton and Elliot Highway? Well, it's several things. First, it's 2 highways. The Dalton part of the mod's name is the Alaska Route 11, aka James W. Dalton Highway, or just Dalton Highway, that stretches, and I'm not sure this is a coincidence, 666 kilometers from Dead Horse near the Arctic Ocean and ends north of Fairbanks, where it then connects to, you guessed it, Elliot Highway. Along the route you will notice an oil pipe going next to the road, and there's a very good reason for that. The road was built in 1974 as a supply road for that very pipe, the Trans-Alaska Pipeline System. And the Dalton have become a bit of a legend as well, as it's been covered in at least 2 good TV series, America's Toughest Jobs and the BBC's World's Most Dangerous Roads. The other highway, the Elliot, aka Alaska Route 2, is a shorter highway, only 235 kilometers, that stretches from Fox, where it crosses over from Dalton, to Manly Hot Springs south of Fairbanks. It was built in the 1950s. As I said, Dalton and Elliot is many things, and the second important thing is the scale. The map is a 1:1 scale, so forget driving 200 miles in 15 minutes. It's gonna take you at least 3 to 4 hours, probably 5, to drive that distance. And because it is scaled at 1:1, the clock works like it does in the real world too. A day literally takes 24 hours to pass. Which brings me to the third important thing about this mod. You have to run it on a new profile, which means you will have to start from scratch. Which means you need to level up to at least, say, level 20. Which means you're going to spend days and probably weeks, even months, just to be able to get there and to then be able to more freely choose what truck you want to drive. To get your own truck, or to even get your own company properly going. It's gonna take time, a lot of time. Is that a bad thing? No, absolutely not. Or, well, maybe. It depends. I'll get back to that, but first I want to tell you about the fourth important thing, and that is the roads and scenery. There's literally just a couple of roads, but it's going to take you at least 15 to 20 hours just to drive from Dead Horse to Fairbanks, and that is if you have no cargo or traffic to worry about. because it's a one-to-one map, there's not a lot of action going on if changing scenery, passing cities and pulling different cargo is what you define as action. And speaking of scenery, I started in Dead Horse. I have my headquarters there, and at first I thought I installed the 7 mods that combined is the Dalton Elliot in the wrong order, because Dead Horse felt like a green desert. A few buildings, some cars and that famous pipe was all I could see except for the road and some traffic of course. And it turns out that large portions of the map is either green or brown deserts or green forests. Is that a bad thing? Well, it's not a good thing, but to be honest, you wouldn't drive on Dalton for the scenery anyway. This is about realism, and from that perspective you have got to keep your eyes on the road anyway. But I'm guessing some people might stop playing Dalton even before they get to their first delivery point, or before they understand what the mod is all about because of the, if I may, lack of scenery. And if that's the case, it is a shame. The last important thing to understand about Dalton is that on a typical day you come home from school or work and you load up ATS in Dalton and you get through half a job, and in best case a full job, before it's time to go to bed. On a weekend, unless you have a girlfriend or even kids or a dog, you might be able to level up 1 level. If you think you were born to be a real-life truck driver because you love ATS and do 4 to 5 jobs every evening, think again. If you manage to do half a job every day on Dalton and at the same time enjoys it, then maybe, just maybe, you have what it takes. And I'm not saying that because I don't believe in you. I'm saying that because I thought I had what it takes until I installed the Dalton, and now I'm not so sure anymore. Is that a bad thing? No, absolutely not. As I said earlier, I have spent some time driving the Dalton, and so far I find it very, very good. For me, Dalton has changed ATS from a trucking game to more or less an actual simulator. On Dalton, I'm not dreaming about the next truck I'm gonna buy and drive. I'm dreaming about owning one. Any one. When I'm hauling on Dalton, I go on an inner journey because there's not that much to do except keeping your eyes on the road. It's pointless to look at the clock or planning for your next haul. You are, in a positive way, trapped in the moment, and all you can do is relax and enjoy it. If you want to experience that a little bit before you install Dalton, try trucking from Los Angeles to New York City on the coast-to-coast map, and then ask yourself, do I want all my hauls to take this long? If the answer is yes, then Dalton might be for you. If you're stressed out and the next appointment with your yoga instructor is 6 days away, then Dalton might be just what you need. If the regular 1 to 20 scale maps is a lot of fun but you feel like going on vacation for a while, then I really recommend 2 milligrams of Dalton per day once or twice a day. Finally, Dalton is not like any other maps I've driven on, and I love that. It turns the ATS trucker in me into something else, where things like the excitement of going in a straight line, or we are approaching something, how exciting, makes sense. Dalton is like paint, if it's fun to watch paint dry. To me, Dalton is a great map that I will continue to truck on every so often, even though I still struggle to figure out how I feel about driving for 3 hours straight just to find myself stuck less than a mile from my target. And one last thing. I finally have my own truck in Dalton. It's not much, but as I said, I'm kind of dreaming of any truck. So I'm running a Peterbilt 378. I guess it's kinda a 1986 model because it does have the 1986 dashboard. It has a 600 horsepower Detroit diesel that produces 2,779 Newton meters of torque. I have a Ultra Shift 18 speeder. It is a 6x4 with a midlift. It has 300 gallon tanks. Hell, even my girlfriend wanted to join me in this one, and that is fantastic. So now we're off on our first haul by ourselves. It is a not so modest 421 miles, which will take us about 10 to 11 hours just to take us from Fairbanks to Happy Valley airstrip. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and if you did, please click the like and subscribe button, and in any case, I hope to see you next time. So take care, drive safely, bye bye.